This is not a test. This channel has interrupted its regular programming to provide disaster information not being readily reported. Important details will follow this tone.
Hey folks, Ira here. I hope you have had a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in for our report of odd events taking place around the world. For the record, today is April the 2nd, 2017. We begin our report in the only North American city to be destroyed as an act of war during the Civil War, Atlanta, Georgia of course, where a massive fire caused an interstate bridge to collapse during rush hour Thursday. Get a load of this. A man is accused of arson in a fire that collapsed part of an elevated interstate, triggering what's expected to be months of traffic headaches in one of the nation's most congested and horrifically violent cities, is being held on $200,000 bond at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Basil Ellaby is charged with first-degree arson and first-degree criminal damage to property, and is apparently a third-degree criminal butthole. Ellaby and two others, all believed by investigators to be homeless, were arrested in connection with Thursday evening's fire under Interstate 85. The fire started in a state-owned storage lot under the highway, causing part of northbound Interstate 85 to collapse and also damaging the southbound portion, forcing the closure of all 5 lanes in each direction for the foreseeable future. Investigators believe Ellaby started the fire intentionally and that Sophia Bruner and Barry Thomas, who both were charged with trespassing, were with him. Investigators haven't divulged information as to how they came to suspect the three or say anything about motive. Neither did they say how the fire started. The region, already accustomed to gridlock, is struggling to face its new commuting reality. It will take at least several months to rebuild the collapsed and otherwise damaged portions of Interstate 85. The closure comes as hordes of spring break vacationers are poised to drive through the region's urban hub. Good Lord, I'm glad I do not live in great city of Hotlanda. How about you? Mount Asama, a volcano on the border of Japan's Gunma and Nagano prefectures, has erupted on April 2, 2017. Mount Asama has been relatively quiet since an eruption during January and February of 2009. Based on monthly reports, there was no exceptional activity during 2011 and 2013. However, during 2014, the frequency of shallow volcanic earthquakes and tremors occurring immediately under the summit crater began to increase. In late April 2015, volcanic seismicity further increased. So, there's another volcanic eruption to add to our steadily growing list of volcanic activities for the year. Not to be left out, the Fuego volcano, located over 30 miles west of Guatemala City, erupts frequently. Guatemala's Fuego volcano cooled down in the early hours of Sunday morning after more than half a day of activity, leaving behind remnants of lava flows. The third eruption this year of the Fuego volcano has finished after 16 hours. Columns of volcanic ash shooting out of Fuego reached over 16,000 feet, falling nearly 50 miles away from the peak. Interesting. Did someone say, eruption? Slovakian veterinary inspectors have found 21 tons of tasty and nourishing spoiled Brazilian meat, tainted with life-altering salmonella in the capital Bratislava. The Brazilian meat was imported into Slovakia via the Netherlands and Poland. Stinking Polacks. Just kidding. Our veterinary inspectors immediately ordered this meat to be withdrawn, as it had been distributed to as many as 54 restaurants throughout the country. Laboratory tests to date have discovered 17 delectable, but diarrhea-inducing irregular items on the meats. Brazil is the world's largest exporter of red meat, with its meat products sold in 150 countries worldwide. Is it just me, Or is that really hard to believe? Brazil is considered the world's meat people? What? Really? Anyways, federal police said some Brazilian meatpacking companies are under investigation for selling expired meats. In order to disguise the odor of the meats, they were adding ascorbic acid to the pieces. The companies then paid bribes to the Agricultural Ministry inspectors to authorize the sale of the contaminated meats. According to the police, the adulterated meats was sold in the domestic market and exported as well. Good Lord. Earlier this month, European health officials reported on several hepatitis A outbreaks linked to adult men who have sex with men in, of all places, Portugal. Since January, 105 hepatitis C cases were reported. In the past year in Europe we began to see this increased activity of the disease. It seems to have originated in the Netherlands and then spread to other countries. The UK was the first to report an increase in the number of cases, and currently there are about 13 countries that are reporting increase in numbers, including Portugal. To give you a sense of the enormity of the situation, this time last year 6 cases were reported and now we have more than 100. Good God. Note to self, don't go to Portugal. Or Nigeria, India, or Macedonia for that matter. Speaking of Macedonia, Macedonian health officials say 223 factory workers in an industrial were hospitalized for food poisoning. The symptoms emerged early Friday after the night shift ate meals of pasta and Brazilian meat. Okay, I made up that Brazilian part. Scratch that. Sufferers were taken to hospitals where 183 workers were treated for raging, steamy, explosive diarrhea and neck pain. Only one at this moment is being held for further medical monitoring. The others were released. An accidental bonfire explosion Saturday at a town fair north of Paris injured 18 people, including 3 children, as the festive spring event turned into absolute chaos. 5 of those injured, including 1 child, were hospitalized with serious injuries but their lives are not in danger. Well, that is good. Anyways, a few hundred people, including local families, the mayor and other officials, had gathered for the annual carnival and were getting ready to watch its climactic event, the lighting of a traditional bonfire. The gasoline used to light the fire was apparently mishandled, however, prompting the explosion. Onlookers were hit by chunks of burning wood and suffered primarily from burns. Oops. Finally, public health officials are trying to trace the path of a typhoid outbreak that has hospitalized 10 people in New Zealand. Public Health Service said it was in the process of tracing people who had been in touch with the people confirmed to have had the disease, and was trying to control its spread. Typhoid is a serious illness which can be potentially fatal, although it is treatable with antibiotics. Symptoms include a high fever developing over several days, headaches, general weakness and muscle aches. Stomach pain and constipation are also common, with some victims suffering extreme cases of projectile diarrhea. Sounds familiar? The disease is spread mainly through water and food, but could be spread person to person. So, do yourself a favor and wash your hands thoroughly when visiting the Greater New Zealand area. Keep your hands out of your eyes, mouth, and, well, you know. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this to be interesting, please like, share, and subscribe. While at it, post your thoughts on this and whatever else is on your mind below. If you like the social media thing, you can link to us via the standard allotted social sites in the description. Have a great day, guys. Stay safe.
This concludes this report of the emergency alert system. All normal programming operations may now resume.